Vehicle Exhibition Coal Mine Monday, seated at all times. Keep your hands and feet inside these rails. Don't drag the top, no smoking in the mines. If you're chewing dip snuff, that's legal. Don't spit in the cars or on each other. Gotta work safe. If you haven't been to the houses, right up this walkway here, left and right. All these houses were moved here from coal companies, used by coal miners. Museum upstairs, a lot of history there. Down on the bottom, you got the old Mountain Homestead and the Ute Museum. I'll take them little fellas down there. They'll enjoy all that. Any of you been here before? You ever been with me? What to take? Small items, cell phones, they fall through the seat. Y'all ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's get going.
Go.
Huh? Which way? Really?
Ready?
Yes.
Yep. Last all. How long ago was it when you guys were here before? Remember who you went with? It didn't sing 16 tons to you, did he?
The one that we were here with, he sang it.
He did or didn't?
Yeah, he did. He sang it. He sang another song too. I can't remember what it was though.
Working in the coal mines.
Yes,
That's
and he made us
done.
all sing it too.
I ain't gonna do no singing. I might tell you a story or two. How's that sound? Might get off script a little bit. I don't know. All right. This coal mine sure opened up in 1890. The Phillips family on this property out front, supposedly digging post holes one day, they found this seam of coal by accident, which they owned the mineral rights. So they decided to mine some coal and sell house coal to folks in this area. See if they could do better than farming. Must have done pretty good to mine in here for 20 years, 1890 to 1910. Reason they shut down coal companies on each side, selling coal cheaper than them, put them out of business. This mine sat here from 1910 to 1959. That's when the city of Beckley got this property. Took over 2 years to make this into a tour mine. Started giving tours in June of 1962. Took over 2 years, like I say, to widen it out and get your height. Normally, 40 to 50,000 people per year come through here from all over the world. A few years ago, we had that World Scout Jamboree up here. We got the National this year. We had almost 60,000 people. I mean, they came from everywhere. Had an old man and woman from Europe, Austria, I believe. Both cars packed. Sat down in the middle over here. Oh, they must be 90 years old. When he sat down, he went to sleep. When we got outside, he was still asleep. I was letting people off this side here. His wife was shaking him hard then. So then I thought maybe something happened to him. So I went around to her, see if she needs some help. And finally, he started coming to. So I walked back away from him, gave him a little space there. He finally got up, got off that car, and walked all the way up there where I was at, shook my hand, told me how much he enjoyed the tour. Good man, old man. Must have been dreaming. All right, got any coal miners on here? No coal miners? You know what a fire boss is? First one through the coal mines, make a safety examination. Right here's where I came through this morning. Got to do a certified foreman through the state of West Virginia. The old days, fire boss didn't have a good job. His job was to get rid of methane gas. Methane's lighter than air. It accumulated in higher places, see. Highly explosive with the right mixture, wrong mixture, ever how you want to put it. Get you a bunch of rags, a stick. He always carried a pocket full of rags. Light it, stick it on that stick, shove it in the top. Wow. Burn it out. That's where he got the name Fire Boss. Seen a lot of pictures. I've never seen one yet where they had any eyebrows. Someone got killed. They had a bad job. Another thing they had checked for is black damp. You know what that is? Oxygen deficiency. This will form in old abandoned workout areas of coal mines. That's why I tell these kids come through here, we have abandoned coal mines everywhere. Do not go back in these mines. Bad top and black damp. I had a guy, a couple weeks ago over here around Wyoming County, went in the mines, supposedly looking for lights. He wasn't looking for no lights, looking for copper or something to sell, no doubt about it. He'll never be found. They spent 2 days looking for him. Sad. Happens all the time. Anyway, this black damp's heavier than air now. It'll seep out close to the ground. The old miners would bring the canaries with them most of the time. You could bring any birds you wanted. Canaries was their favorite. They're a small bird with small lungs. Shut that, you jump out of there on me. Let me look her up here before I forget. That door come open, I'll be in trouble. But they're a small bird with small lungs. But the most important thing is that canary. If you've got a little girl at the house in that cage, you put a boy in with her, you take him out, she's going to scream and squall. Never shuts up. He's doing the same thing. That's why the miners liked them so good. Bring them in the mines, see the one of them carrying on something fierce. You could hear them till 300 foot up in there working. It got real quiet and they don't hear that bird. They're going to crawl back and check on it. Flopped over like this one, just saved her life, see. I had a bad experience here, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. Little girl absolutely broke my heart. She started crying over this bird. She sobbed, tears poured. Her mother said it saved the miner's life. She didn't care. Going around the gift shop, she's still sobbing, even leaving. I mean, it tore me up. I don't know, it was that year, later on, next year, whatever, always time runs together. Little girl sitting right here. I seen the tears are coming. I said, oh God, not again. So I told her a fib. I told her they give it mouth to beak and revived it. Quit crying anyway. So the early lights you used in the mines, lanterns and candles. That wasn't very good, so they went to this teapot. Don showed you the teapot, didn't he? Got a little spout on it with a wick in it. Can of lamp oil, can of kerosene, fill that thing up, light it, stick it on their hat. Burn for about an hour. Very poor visibility. Now, a lot of miners had big families, fry up a lot of bacon, sausage, and stuff for breakfast. You could bring that grease in here. One family down here in West Virginia County had 22 kids. I heard he had 23, but I don't believe that story. They said one of the little ones fell in the toilet, and the older boy told his daddy, he said, don't worry about him, we got too many anyway. Hope it wasn't true anyhow. But anyway, you know, anything to save them a few pennies while they bring that bacon, grease and stuff. You ever see a carbide light? A carbide light is your big improvement in lighting. This has calcium carbide chips. You have water in the top. You open this water, when it hits the carbide, that makes a settling gas. That's the other crew over there leaving, what you hear. That's the big improvement in lighting. I'm going to shut this off here now. That's the big improvement in lighting. My dad started mine in 1924, 15 years old. This is what he used. The big improvement of this would burn for 3 hours. So you didn't have to lose any production, see? Keep in mind. Y'all want to see total darkness? Let the little fellas up. You all right for a second?
Yeah.
Don't go to sleep now.
Turn it off. It's okay.
Always dark in the dungeon. Here's our working condition. I'll leave my light on here anyway. Alright, these coal cars here, the cars they used back in those days, they were about 4 foot wide because they had to cut the roadways narrower. They would hold a ton. Working for the coal company, you had to mine 6 of those 1-ton cars. Every lump of coal you could get on it, maximum loaded, paid them 20 cents for that car. If it wasn't maximum loaded, they paid them nothing. This car over here has a little bit of rock on top. If it wasn't loaded, that rock on it, they didn't pay them anything. Cheat them every way possible, keep them in debt so they work every day. Now, if this was maximum loaded, you have this graveyard hump on it. Every lump you could stack on there, when they pulled it out the drift mount, they dropped the board down, touched the coal. If that board didn't touch the coal, they didn't pay them anything there. If it did touch the coal, it was a metric ton, 400 or 5 more pounds. They cheated them either way. Coal miners didn't have a chance. How many little ones we got on here? Y'all rather ride or listen to me talk? Ride, who said that? Tell you what, you can have 30 or more school kids in here. Every single one of them will say ride but one. It happened yesterday, do it every time. That one will say, I would rather listen to you talk. That's going to be your politicians when they grow up, no doubt about it. All right, what we do is we go ride. We go up through the switches, and I'll back you down and show you how they made their cuts and stuff on the other side. Y'all ready to ride?
Yes, sir.
Y'all want to ride?
Yes.
You do? You want to hear me talk, do you? Let's just go around and around and around. How's that?
This is your top one. About 80, maybe 84, 83 anyway. But Marvin would trim that in a cut. His buddy shove a car under the boom. In less than a minute, you had a car coal loaded. Big time production booster. Loaded a lot of rock. Companies put young boys young as 5 years old, had them picking slate, cleaning those coals. They paid them a few pennies a day. I could not imagine this day and time a 5-year-old working for any company, let alone a coal company, but they did. They had other jobs in mines too. It's unbelievable. All right, I'll back y'all up and stop where y'all see this. Bye, Marvin. From Charlotte a couple years ago, sung that whole song to me. Ron Dooley. Art It builds a bridge is the way this works, see. Makes it all solid. Early days they drilled their holes with a stoker or jackhammer, so in the early 1940s, this one's a 1941 long airlocks. I think by 1943 you had a few more of them, Gale's, different ones, single heads. Now they have double head roof bolters. They have this rotating head on it, put your drill steel in here, shove it right up in that top and drill your hole. Now, these early bolts, conventional bolts are like anchors and cement. You got about 3 or 4 inches holding here. You shove it up in there and torque that thing 160 pounds of torque. That expands just like that anchor, but they would bleed off, wouldn't hold anything. So in 1974, DuPont came out with these rosin bolts. This glue or rosin, whatever you'll call it, has epoxy on one side, I'm not sure the other. The hole you drill is real small, just enough to shove your glue in your hole. You would line this bolt machine drill head up with this bolt, shove it in the glue, start spinning it. That mixes your glue. 10, 12 seconds, you better have it up. If your glue sets up, it ain't going no further. Got a good back scratcher, it sure ain't gonna be in the top. But you get that thing in the top, that whole 4 foot's holding. That's all they use today for roof support. Save thousands of lives, no doubt about it. Have y'all been in the museum upstairs yet? Well, they got a little rail runner up there. You'll see it, tell a little more about it. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'll hold it up here in a minute where everybody can see it.